Good evening, I'm Brett Baer. Tonight, President Trump is enduring some fierce Monday morning quarterbacking from NFL players and others over calling an audible about a White House visit from the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. Only a handful of players were planning to attend. The president tied the incident to the uproar over players protesting during the national anthem. But there are problems with that line of reasoning. Chief White House correspondent John Roberts starts us off tonight from the North Lawn of the White House. John.
Brett, good evening to you. There's no question that President Trump has been in a long-running feud with the NFL over players kneeling or, as the president says, disrespecting the national anthem. Today, that feud erupted into an all-out war with the Philadelphia Eagles.
We love our country, we respect our flag, and we always proudly stand for the national anthem. We always will stand for the national anthem.
President Trump didn't even mention the Philadelphia Eagles on the South Lawn today. An event that was originally to celebrate their Super Bowl victory turned into a celebration of the military, the flag, and American patriotism.
We stand to honor our military and to honor our country and to remember the fallen heroes who never made it back home. We stand to show our love for our fellow citizens and our magnificent Constitution.
The president canceled the Eagles celebration last night after the team said only 2 or 3 players, owner Jeffrey Lurie and Swoop, the Eagles mascot, would attend.
There were 80 members of the Eagles organization that RSVP'd and committed to attend this event as recently as Friday, as well as over 1,000 fans of the Eagles organization. And the Eagles are the ones that tried to change their commitment at the 11th hour.
Philadelphia Mayor Jim Kenney didn't hold back one bit in a statement saying disinviting them from the White House only proves that our president is not a true patriot, but a fragile egomaniac obsessed with crowd size and afraid of the embarrassment of throwing a party to which no one wants to attend. The White House insists the Eagles were playing politics, suggesting the White House visit be moved to next week, when they knew the president would be in Singapore to meet Kim Jong-un.
Look, if this wasn't a political stunt by the Eagles franchise, then they wouldn't have planned to attend the event and then backed out at the last minute. And if it wasn't a political stunt, then they wouldn't have attempted to reschedule the visit when they knew that the president was going to be overseas.
President Trump blamed the players for the fiasco in a statement saying they disagree with their president because he insists that they proudly stand for the national anthem, hand on heart, in honor of the great men and women of our military and the people of our country. But former Eagles wide receiver Torrey Smith was quick to remind on Twitter, no one on the Eagles took a knee last season. President Clinton's former press secretary, Joe Lockhart, who was also the NFL's communications director, said the president is out of bounds on this one.
I think it's the latest example of the imperial presidency, how Trump sees himself as the president. Last time I checked, it wasn't his house. He doesn't get to decide, this is the people's house. And it shouldn't matter whether 10 players are coming or 30 players are coming.
And President Trump will likely face another sports boycott later on this year. Both LeBron James and Steph Curry have said that neither the Cleveland Cavaliers nor the Golden State Warriors would come to the White House, depending on who wins the NBA championships that are currently underway. Last year, the Golden State Warriors were about to decline an invitation to the White House. President Trump got wind of it and jumped out ahead of them, disinviting them. But the feud continuing to go on between the president, the NFL, and the NBA. Brett?
And John, a new development regarding Kelly Sadler at the center of that controversy about the comments about Senator John McCain.
Yeah, Kelly Sadler was at least the head of surrogate communications here at the White House. Got into a controversy in a meeting, she said, about John McCain. Well, he's dying anyways. The White House refused to apologize. Kelly Sadler refused to apologize. In the wake of that, we are told tonight by senior administration officials that Kelly Sadler is no longer with the White House. Brett?
Interesting. John Roberts live on the North Lawn. John, thanks. Well, what do you think? Do you think the president made the right call about the Philadelphia Eagles? Drop me a line on Twitter at Brett Baer. You can use the hashtag special report or on Facebook at facebook.com/BrettBaerSR.